So we all have voices in our heads which talk to us on an almost constant basis. Our voices give us messages continually. What they say to us affects us. By Julene Burke. She's a writer and writes plays that's from New York. So you'd be surprised at what you tell yourself is actually what you end up doing. Our subconscious mind impacts our behavior. So one time I had an interview with a program coordinator that I started to get nervous, and once I start to get nervous, I start to doubt myself. So have you ever felt nervous before an interview that you started to think negatively about yourself?
Yeah.
If so, positive talk is a process to help relieve stress before an interview. It is an act or practice of talking to oneself for encouragement or motivation. So today I'm going to tell you why positive self-talk is important and how to use it before an interview, and how it could benefit you by practicing this process. Before you learn a method, it is always important to understand the method. According to Think Communication book, self-talk represents a silent statement you make to yourself about yourself. One way to enhance your self-esteem is to replace negative statement with positive ones. One example from Think Communication book, rather than saying, "I can't handle this, it's impossible," change that statement with a question such as, "How can I handle this?" Not only does that sound more helpful, but it may help you find a solution. Practicing and finding different ways to phrase what you tell yourself makes a huge difference, because how you word things are essential to your self-esteem. So according to Think Communication book, your personal beliefs and customary behavior influences your self-esteem. So before an interview, if you feel a bit overwhelmed and anxious, try to avoid thinking what could go wrong or what you're nervous about. So instead, maybe you should think about like your strengths or qualities that you can offer the company or the school, so that way it makes you feel like a perfect candidate. So an example of a negative self-talk that most people think to themselves before an interview is, "I'm so nervous, I don't think I'm going to do well for this interview." So instead of that, instead of telling yourself that, replace your thoughts with a positive self-talk. So maybe say, "I researched a lot more about this company that I think would help me for this interview, so now I think I'm prepared." By telling yourself that you are prepared, it will give you self-confidence, and you'd be surprised at how you represent yourself by telling yourself how well prepared you are. There are so many reasons that plays a factor to our negative subconscious, and one reason I want to bring up is barrier to self-esteem. So according to this book, again, Think Communication, unless you're willing to recognize and accept your strengths and weaknesses as a part of who you are, your self-esteem may be distorted. One barrier is being aware of self-distortion, meaning that if you fail at one thing, you must fail at all things. So maybe you have like a job interview that you applied for and you ended up not getting. So instead of thinking that the job that you applied for and you didn't get it was actually an opportunity for you to be exposed for more practice for the next interview. So an example of a positive self-talk is, I know I did my best with an interview, but I guess there's a better job opportunity that is meant for me. That way you give yourself space for improvement and new possibilities. Focusing more on yourself and recognize your strong qualities and reminding yourself about those qualities can benefit you along the way. So one is trusting yourself. So telling yourself you can do something, you believe that you can do it. So when you're in a situation that you're doubting yourself, For example, an interview with an admissions coordinator, you should tell yourself that you're a great candidate for this program and that you have nothing to worry about. By telling yourself this, you boost your confidence during the interview. That confidence you'll represent that confidence. So key points to making self-talk work. Don't just say it, repeat it, but visualize it and feel it. Instead of telling yourself repeatedly that you could do something, make a plan for your goal and take steps on how to reach it. Also, one other key point is to reflect on your past accomplishments. That way you remind yourself of your many achievements. By reminding yourself for your many achievements, you can tell yourself that most of your goals you accomplish. So, in conclusion, the use of positive self-talk benefits you along the way to reach your goal. So, I think that's it.
Yay!
Good job. Good presentation.
Good job.